Well, the other day it was reported that we had some performance problems with the NPC. So we wanted to take a look to see what was causing the performance bottleneck. I tried to look for a free tool, but I wasn't able to find something to get working. But what I did find was dotTrace. It's a paid tool, subscription model. It's about $10 a month, but it does have a 30-day free trial. It gives you other tools as well. It's not just dotTrace. It's probably a worthwhile package to get. But like I said, it's a free 30-day trial. And so I just want to show you quickly how I used it to try to track performance. So this is dotTrace. Once you have it installed, it's just called dotTrace. You want to do a new process run. The path is the exe. I'm using my auto start feature, so it'll automatically load the last game I have and the working directory where the game is. Entire process tree, I think that's default. I also enabled the native profiling, and you only have one choice up here, which is timeline. You can leave this checked if you want to start collecting data right from the start, meaning right from the game. So if you have harmony patches in the menu, you could start collecting it early. For us, we don't really care about that. So we're just going to load up the game, and then we'll manually start the profiling. The start button, of course, will start the profiling then. Get snapshot and wait. That will give you a profile dump based on what you've collected so far. It won't exit the game, it won't pause the game, but it will open up a new window and you can take a look. Drop, if you start analyzing right from the start, and then you realize I don't really want any of that, you can click on drop and it's going to discard anything you've collected so far. So since we're not really profiling right now, there's nothing to drop. So while that's loading up there, we will load up a profile that I generated earlier. So this is the view here. This is the main thread. You can see where it's doing the CPU. Then this is the percentage of CPU in there. I've never really dealt or bothered with any of that. What I want to do is I want to do these timelines here. So I'll just click and select an area. So that's a span of about 20 seconds. There we go. So what this is telling me is what percentage each of these methods is doing at the moment. So on update entity, that's for the player, update tasks. So that's the update tasks that we may be interested in. The harmony patches usually look like this. They'll start with kind of an abbreviation. Some of them will say prefix. Alright, so we're in game now. We'll bring over this here, log into DM, and we will start. Let's load in a couple of bakers. Let's see, things are starting to slow down there a bit. I'm going to let them walk around a little bit. And when we feel we have enough, then we're going to go get snapshot and wait. it's going to load up a new instance. So you can have multiple reports up at a time. So if you made one change, you can keep that report up, rerun the test, and then kind of compare it back and forth. You can also go up into File and export it, and then so if you want to look at it later or share it, you can export it and open it up again. Processing the snapshot depends on how much data you've accumulated, how long it ran for. It can take a couple minutes or it can take 10-15 minutes too, depending on again how much data you've collected and how fast your computer is. So this is paused now. We don't really need that, so we'll just move that over there. Alright, so like I said, we have the events here, the thread states. That really isn't much of a concern for us. Here's all the threads that the game spawned. You'll notice the main one, that's where most of the work happens. This is the time interval, so we processed about 30 seconds. So let's pick this spot here. I'm clicking, holding down, and I'll just highlight this area. And that's going to isolate this call stack for the hotspots inside of that zone. So out of this snapshot here, 51% of the processing was done in the GM update. So we'll go down to the list, the update tick entities. So 50% of this snapshot we've been updating entities, which would be the bakers. It doesn't tell us which one it is, it's just that they ran. Update tasks. These here are harmony patches. Sometimes you'll say C prefix, other times you'll see 3 characters plus whatever the patch is. So right down here is enemy, that's in the entity targets utilities as enemy. That was called 58% of the time from this test, 41% from is nearby. And that's how long it's taken in that. And then of course the update, not much there. Get leader or owner. This was called 49% of the time from can damage, 49.2 from the get player leader from these methods here. So you can see how long and how often a method is called. So if you want to make adjustments to your code based on this, the can see is expensive, particularly coming from is enemy nearby. So in order to fix that, what I did was move the is enemy check above the can see check. So the idea here is in this is enemy nearby. If they're not classified as an enemy, then we don't need to do the can see look. It doesn't matter, they're not an enemy. So the order that you're running your methods could be important, particularly for expensive ones like can see, which does array cast. So that's the quick way that I am using dotTrace to check for performance issues.